Good morning, g'day, how you going? It's Roger Roadside here saying hello. Hello. Listen, this is a very quick one here. Racist Rachel Reeves has come out and called Nigel Farage, shock horror, a racist. But in doing so, she's been racist herself. Now, is this someone from the left saying that all British people are white and can only be white only? Because that's what she's basically said. If anyone hasn't seen the story today, basically Rachel Reeves has played the race card. Oh, shock horror. Oh, you're racist. You're racist. Listen, I'll talk about the context of Farage's U-turn before I talk about the 12th U-turn of Labour, which is in another video. Don't worry about that. But this situation about the lifting of the two-child cap benefits, you know what it is. For anyone who wasn't aware of the situation, essentially what happened was, a while ago, ages ago, Nigel Farage was interviewed and he was asked whether or not he'd lift the two-child cap benefits. He said at the time, yes, I would. And then obviously now we've seen that Labour have come out and lifted the two-child cap benefits, and now Farage has been asked again. Actually, I don't need to go down this road. This is me just going to do a U-turn. Don't mind me here, guys. Farage has been asked recently whether or not he'd lift the cap, and he said no. So he's U-turned on what he originally said. Now, if you want to be a wanker, and if you want to deflect any sort of spotlight from yourself, you could look at Farage and go, "Oh, you've done a U-turn. Oh, you've suddenly changed your tune, haven't you?" Without actually looking at the context of the situation. Look, I'm no Farage fanboy or anything like that. I think all politicians are as bad as each other. I don't honestly know who would be best suited to fix this country, but I will say this: that context, when it comes to the media and when it comes to what politicians are saying in nice sort of sound bites to try and get the message across. All racist Rachel Reeves has done here is tried to reinforce the foundation that Nigel Farage is racist, and she's done so because she said that basically Nigel Farage no longer wants to lift the cap because of this important fact, right? The fact is this: on average, parents that were both born here in the UK are having, on average, 1.4 kids. Yeah? It's not a very high birth rate. However, families where at least one of the parent wasn't born here in the UK is having, on average, 3.4 kids. Right? Now, I'm not that great at maths, but I think that's 3 times the amount of kids that they're having. And look, that's like these. We hear this quite often, and nothing really gets spoken about it or talked about it or anything like that. But listen, if I was, and look, I'm one of those people. I was born in Australia. Obviously, I come from a Western country, and my values are aligned with that of Britain. And whilst I'm not born here, my generations two before me were from Liverpool, and so I'm not Indigenous, but I would argue that I'm quite heavily connected and quite well assimilated in the sense that everything aligns. But I hold my hand up. Listen, I came over here not looking for any benefits or looking for any handouts or anything like that. I came over here and I've worked for 15 years. I've paid tax for 15 years. I've helped out the community, and I've travelled around this country. I've stayed in this country. I've put a lot of my money back into this country. I've not once sent any money back home or anything like that to Australia. So anyway, long story short, it's a very troublesome situation that we find ourselves in here in Britain. If those that aren't originally born of here and perhaps are in transit here, or perhaps are over here to start a better life and then feed that life back to their homeland, or whatever the case may be, there is a massive invasion going on, and it's being facilitated by Labour. And look, it had been facilitated by previous governments as well. Of course it had been, because immigration, we on the ground, we the people, we get force-fed this line that immigration's good and this country wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for immigration, if people hadn't come over here and built the infrastructures and stuff like that, and they weren't originally British and this, that and the other, yada, yada, yada. We get fed that line of thinking. Essentially, where immigration is at its most valuable for politicians is with votes. Because, if you've got a household, right, say you live in a shared house and there's 10 people that live in the shared house, it's a big bloody share house. And let's say you're the house captain. Let's say that's a title, right? And you decide on where the house kitty money gets spent, what it gets spent on. You decide on what companies you have your electricity with, your phone bills with, all that sort of stuff. You set the rules. People have to, all the other housemates have to be home by 11 o'clock. This, that, and the other. Let's say you run that house like a prime minister would run a country, right? So you've got 9 other people in there that you need to have on your side, and you're not going to have all of them on your side, but you're obviously going to have had the majority of them on your side because you're house captain, right? And look, house captain isn't actually a thing. I've just made that up, right? But let's just go with it. So now let's say that with your dictatorship, or with the directions that you're going and all that sort of jazz, you notice that there's a bit of unrest in the house. People are starting to get a bit upset that they don't like the they don't like the telephone company that you've signed up with. They don't like the curfew that people have got to be home by 12. Right, what can you do? You can try to change their minds, and you find that that's not working. So what can you do? Well, what you could do is you can get more people into the house. Start saying, hey, listen, guys, in the backyard, we're just going to put a few tents up, and we're going to have a few people out there, and we're going to just take them off the street. We're not going to vet them. I know everyone came into this house. We did like an interview process. You had to meet everyone. Everyone had to decide on it. I'm just going to grab some people off the street, and I'm going to put them in the backyard, and they're going to live with us now. They're not going to pay rent, right? But they're going to live with us in the backyard. It's only going to be maybe 2 or 3, and suddenly these 2 or 3 strangers come in, and they're like, wow, this house captain, he's a good bloke. He's giving me shelter, he's giving me a place to live, he's giving me a tent, I don't have to pay any rent. Bloody hell, this is a good thing, isn't it? Bang. That's someone who's going to vote for me as house captain in the next election, isn't it? Oh, I might need a couple more of those. Oh, well, I know. Look, guys, I know it started off as 2 people in the backyard, but you might, if you have a look out there now, you'll see, you'll see Dolores and you'll see Sebastian. They're both from, they used to live just underneath the bridge near the bypass. I've just picked them up. I've dropped them in the backyard. We're going to be giving them food from our kitty, and they can use our toilet, and they can use Timmy. They'll be able to use your toothpaste, mate, and they'll probably use your toothbrush as well if that's okay. Just because they need to. They're people. They're our backyard people. They need a bit of extra help. and it's the right thing to do. So so look, you get the point, right? I'm filling up the backyard with people that are becoming dependent on me and that are very thankful because I'm doing a truckload for them, but I'm using all the money that the people in the house, the renters, are putting into the kitty. Suddenly now, instead of that being divided by 9 other people, or that being divided by 10, that's now being divided by 15, 14, 13, by 18. Oh, suddenly we get a few more people. We've got a big backyard. I can get a few tents in there. You understand what I'm saying, right? And that's exactly what the Labour government are doing. The whole reason they're lifting the 2-child cap benefits is not to bring British children out of poverty. And look, how is it bringing kids out of poverty anyway by lifting out this benefit? It's not. What would take kids out of poverty would be to not have as many taxes on the business side of the fence, so businesses can actually hire more staff. Would be to fix the economy, not give out more benefits. But nevertheless, their tagline is we're raising kids out of poverty by lifting this cap, right? Who are they lifting it for? They're not lifting it for families where both parents are from Britain, because on average they're only having 1.4 kids. They're doing it for those who aren't born here. And why are they doing it? Do you think it's because they care? Or do you think it's because they're buying votes? That is the question. And listen, why is it racist Rachel Reeves? Well, because she says that because Nigel Farage has done his U-turn now, that he's only concerned about Britons first, and we all know that Britons are white, and so therefore he's racist. So basically, in saying that, Rachel Reeves has been racist, because she's saying that you can only be white to be British. If you're a black British person, or if you're a brown British person, or a yellow British person, or a red and orange and pink and blue and violet and red and green, I can see a rainbow, see a rainbow, see a rainbow too. If you're someone of different skin colour, but you're British, you're born here, or maybe you're first generation or second generation, whatever. If you consider yourself British, do you not think Rachel Reeves' statement that she believes Nigel Farage to be racist, do you not find that that's racist in saying that? What are your thoughts on that? Has she put her foot in it? Has she said something of a racial slur there? What do you think? Is the media, or am I sort of looking too much into it? What do you think about Nigel Farage's U-turn on the 2-child cap benefits? Do you think that, do you feel okay that by lifting this benefit, it's really going to be benefiting those who aren't Indigenous British people, or those who aren't born in this country? Is that a problem? Are you happy with that? What are your thoughts? I'm eager to see your thoughts, right? Please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. We've got about 37 subscribers now. I need 13 more, please. I'm not begging or anything. That would be really lame. But yeah, I would love to get to 50 subscribers by the 2nd of February for my birthday, and we can have a big online party. But yeah, that'd be great. Listen, love you long time. Interested to get your thoughts. Yeah, hope you're having a good day. Ciao for now.